Welcome to our video series on advanced features in Windows XP. In this video, we'll expand our exploration of My Computer. In this video, I'm going to expand on exploring My Computer and the My Computer screen, which is available directly from the desktop here. So what I'm going to be talking through here are folders and files, and these are very important. These are some of the most fundamental concepts of Windows, and it's important that you become familiar with them if you really want to become comfortable and productive using your computer. So let's start with folders. Even though these are really just structural concepts, they help you find your way around your computer. For example, let's say you create Microsoft Word documents, and let's say you have an archive going back 5 years. And let's say that over this 5 years, you've created 1,000 documents. If you just had a list of 1,000 documents, it would be difficult to work with. It would be difficult to find things. It's just an unwieldy way of working. So Windows gives you the option of organizing those things into folders. Okay, let's say each of those 1,000 documents, each of those is a file. And a file is just I guess the best way to explain it is with examples. One Word document is a file. One image is a file. One video is a file. One MP3 audio is a file. So all those taken together are 4 files. So they're just what you could say are separate pieces of information on your computer, and these files are stored on your hard drive. Just to complicate matters, you could take a 10-page Word document, let's say, and turn it into 2 5-page Word documents, so you've turned one file into 2 files, if that makes sense. So the point is, it's quite flexible. So those are files and folders. But let's go back to the example of those document files. Let's say 100 of those documents are invoices. So it would make sense to create an area where you only keep invoices, so they're easier to find, rather than just leaving the invoices in the whole stack of 1,000 documents. So you can create an invoice folder. And folders look like this. Now, these are all just virtual concepts. They're just ways of categorizing and organizing data that just sits on your hard drive. But a folder is just a container for files, and you can call a folder what you want, and it can contain as many files as you like. A folder can contain 0 files, or it can contain 1,000 or 10,000 files. Obviously, I'm not suggesting that you have 10,000 files in a folder, because that's really not a good way to organize things. But a folder can contain any number of files. Folders can also contain subfolders, so you could have a folder within a folder within a folder. If you think of your hard drive as a filing cabinet, and in a filing cabinet you can have multiple folders, and within those folders you could have other folders if you wish, and within those folders you have individual documents or files. As I say, the concepts can be there's nothing really tangible here. So you do need to just play around with files and folders to really become familiar with the concepts and used to working with them. Okay, so as an example, let's take a look in this folder, Demo Account Documents. Double-click, and as you can see, these are the subfolders. Now, I have a slightly different view here, and I can go back to the Icons view by clicking there and choosing Icons. So these are the folders. These are the subfolders within the folder I double-clicked on. So this is an Adobe folder, and any video converter folder, a Blaze video folder, and quite a few more. My music, my pictures, my Skype content, and so on. But those are the folders. So if I click, hold, and drag, I can select those folders. Okay. They're selected, but let me click up here to deselect them. And these are the files, and you see different files, different types of files have different icons. This little picture here is known as an icon. This little W icon, this little picture, tells us it's a Word document, and they're all Word documents, in fact, Word files. There are different types of files. What I mean by there being different types of files is just that a Word document is different from an Excel document. An Excel file is different from an MP3 file. Those are different types of computer files. And to make it clear what type of file you're dealing with, Windows tries to be helpful by giving you a little picture that tries to put across what type of file it is. Usually the small picture is related to the software you've used to view or work with that file. For example, for a Word document, there's a little Word icon, so the file is related to Word. If it's an MP3 file, there may be a little audio icon to tell you it's an audio file that perhaps may tell you that the file should be opened and played in Windows Media Player. Those file-to-software connections, such as these files are connected to Microsoft Word, which means that if the files are double-clicked, it automatically opens in Word, whereas an MP3 file might be connected to Windows Media Player, and that's generally apparent in the icon, the little picture. Also, if you double-click the MP3 file, it probably will open automatically in Windows Media Player. So different file types have different software connections to make it easier for you. You just double-click on the file and it just automatically opens in Word, for example, or Media Player, or whatever is appropriate. That's so that when working with Word documents, you don't always have to open it within Word. You can just double-click on a document and it opens up in Word automatically, which is a nice, helpful shortcut that Windows gives you. Okay, so files are connected to a piece of software, and when you double-click the icon, that file usually opens in that software. And as well as the icon, it also tells you what type of file it is. You don't need to be familiar with it, and you may not always see this in Windows XP, but if you do see this, you see that each file has a name, a unique name. And you see there's number 1.doc, number 2.doc, number 3.doc. Those are names. You can use lots of characters in file names. You can use spaces. You can use hyphens and all sorts of characters. There's a few that you can't use, but if you try to use them, Windows will tell you that you can't, that it's a disallowed character. For example, you generally can't use question marks in file names. So you can name a file, and you can give it a very long name, as you can see. In older versions of Windows, you used to be stuck with just 8 characters, but now you can create very long, helpful names. But what I'm leading to here, and actually just a very quick side note, the same naming conventions also apply to folders. You can give your folders very long names and have spaces in them and hyphens and all sorts of characters. So again, with files, you'll see that every file toward the end has a dot and then 3 letters. And the dot and 3 letters are very important. That's what's known as the file extension. And .doc stands for document, Word document. As another example, an Excel document is .xls, and an MP3 is, naturally, .mp3. Actually, you don't have to have a file extension, but it is really recommended. The reason is that the file extension is very helpful to Windows because it tells Windows what type of file it is. So it's always recommended that you have a file extension, and generally Windows automatically adds a relevant file extension. For example, if you're working in Word and you save a document you call My Document, Word adds the .doc to the end. So you don't need to think about extensions most of the time, but I thought I would mention that so you recognize that part of the file name. Anyway, that's an introduction to the concept of files and folders and important points to keep in mind when working with them.